Hey guys, whether you need to go for a date with Russian girl or for a business meeting with a Russian boy, you will need to talk about your job and your specialization. So today's lesson item is your job and specialization. So we are going to second lesson, and you know what I thought about I don't know why people want to learn Russian, but I really seen a lot of guys who want to learn Russian because they want to date with Russian girl. So as I traveled a lot, I've been in 14 countries, I worked in 5 countries. I thought like I can give you some advices, right? Because my friends, girls, they've been dating with some rich guys from different countries, and I was watching attentively about what did they like, what did they not like, and why did they break up with some guys, and why they stay longer with some guys. So I will open you for you the secrets, as you understand, in the end of this video. Okay, so let's go for second lesson. Lingus.com. It's free website. And if you want to go for a lesson with me, one lesson is $20. Also, maybe we can talk about barter if you do video editing. So second lesson, here you can learn to talk about members of the family, to talk about where you live and where you work, to use numbers up to 20, and one or two crucial phrases for beginners. So okay, let's go for second lesson. Na, 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 na. Okay, it starts with dialects.
2. Talking about yourself and others. In this unit, you will be learning to say more about yourself and about your family. The letters and sound of Russian will be more familiar, but there's a lot which is new, so you'll want to listen to the dialogues quite a few times. In the first dialogue, Ira asks Anna Ivanovna if she has a family. У вас есть семья? Anna Ivanovna is married with a daughter.
What? Anna Ivanovna is married with her daughter? With a daughter? Maybe he said like Anna Ivanovna is married and have a daughter. I didn't get this one. Did you get it? Okay. Ira asked Anna Ivanovna about her family. Let's listen to it.
Скажите, у вас есть семья?
Да, я замужем.
А дети у вас есть?
У меня есть дочка.
Ира, скажите, у вас есть семья? Скажите, у вас есть семья? Анна Ивановна, да, я замужем. Да, я замужем. А дети у вас есть? А дети у вас есть? Анна Ивановна отвечает. Анна Ивановна replace. У меня есть дочка. У меня есть дочка.
Anna Ivanovna is married, so she replied, Я замужем. A man would reply, Я женат. If you are not married, just put не before the appropriate word. A woman would say, Я не замужем. And a man, Я не женат. Anna Ivanovna has a daughter. У меня есть дочка. If she had a son, she would say, У меня есть сын. So do you have is у вас есть. And I have. У меня есть.
Скажите, пожалуйста. Скажите, пожалуйста. Tell me, please. У вас есть семья? У вас есть семья? Do you have a family? There isn't a common verb to have in Russian. У вас есть? У вас есть literally means with you is there. Well, I'm not really agree. I think that у вас есть, it's more like do you have? With you is there. I don't know. Well, literally it means do you have? The reply will often begin «Да, у меня есть». «Да, у меня есть». Yes, I have. Да, я замужем. Да, я замужем. Yes, I'm married. This is what a woman would say. A man says «Я женат». You can say you're not married by putting «не» before the appropriate word. Я не замужем. Я не замужем. Unmarried woman. I'm not married. Я не женат. Я не женат. Unmarried man. I'm not married. Дети у вас есть? Дети у вас есть? Do you have children? There are no strict rules regarding word order in Russian, but actually, дети у вас есть? It sounds like some policeman ask you. That sounds a little bit tough to my mind. Better say у вас есть дети? Дети у вас есть? That sounds a bit tough, like I say. У меня есть дочка. У меня есть дочка. I have a daughter. A more formal word for daughter is дочь. And if Anna Ivanovna had a son, she would say у меня есть сын. У меня есть сын. I have a son. Okay, let's go next.
In dialogue 2, Maria Dmitrievna asks Oля whether she has a brother or sister.
Okay, next dialogue.
Оля, у тебя есть брат или сестра?
У меня есть брат,
А как его зовут?
Дима.
Оля, у тебя есть брат или сестра? Оля, у тебя есть брат или сестра? У меня есть брат. У меня есть брат. А как его зовут? А как его зовут? Дима.
Оля has a brother. У меня есть брат. She is asked his name. Как его зовут? His name is Dima. Его зовут Дима. If Оля had a sister, she would have said У меня есть сестра. And to ask what is her name, you would say Как ее зовут? So that's как его зовут. What is his name? And как ее зовут? What is her name?
У тебя есть брат или сестра? Do you have a brother or sister? У тебя есть is used instead of у вас есть when asking a child or somebody you know well. Как его зовут? What is his name? If Oля had a sister, the question would be как ее зовут? What is her name?
That's the end of the first group of dialogues. Listen again, following them in your book. And when you're ready, you'll practice what you have learned.
We have no book. We have only copybooks, okay? Okay, let's practice. Let's try.
And now, some practice. Exercise 1. Listen carefully to the following snatches of conversation, then decide whether the statements in your book are true or false. Remember, you can go back and listen again if you don't understand the first time.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Иван, у вас есть семья?
Да, я женат.
2.
Таня, вы замужем?
Нет, я не замужем.
3.
Муся, у вас есть дети?
Да, у меня есть сын.
4.
Борис Алексеевич, у вас есть дети?
У меня есть дочь.
А как ее зовут?
Ее зовут Наташа.
5.
Маша, у тебя есть брат или сестра?
У меня есть сестра.
Как ее зовут?
Ее зовут Ира.
Okay, let's try to listen again. Listen attentively. I will not help you. You need to be attentive by yourself.
Иван, у вас есть семья?
Да, я женат.
2.
Таня, вы замужем?
Нет, я не замужем.
3.
Муся, у вас есть дети?
Да, у меня есть сын.
4.
Борис Алексеевич, у вас есть дети?
У меня есть дочь.
А как ее зовут?
Ее зовут Наташа.
5.
Маша, у тебя есть брат или сестра?
У меня есть сестра.
Как ее зовут?
Ее зовут Ира.
Okay, so the last one was Masha's sister named Ira. So we understand that this is false because here Masha's sister is called Sonia. I hope you could do it by yourself. If you need to repeat again, you can check the website and practice with website. Okay. If you weren't see first lesson, you can check my YouTube and find first lesson. It's 2 parts. Let's go next.
Exercise 2. Mila is asking Ivan Antonovich and a young girl, Tanya, some questions. First, listen to the dialogues without your book.
Why is it jumping like that?
Иван Антонович, у вас есть семья?
Да, я женат.
А дети есть?
У меня есть дочь.
А как ее зовут?
Ее зовут Оля.
And what about Tanya?
Таня, у тебя есть брат или сестра?
У меня есть брат.
Okay, so let's check. Да, я женат. Yes? Женат. А дети есть? У меня есть дочь. А как ее зовут? Ее зовут Оля. Ее зовут Оля. She then chats with a young girl, Tanya. Таня, у тебя есть брат или сестра? У меня есть брат. Okay, we did it. Next.
Now listen once again, this time with your book. You'll find it written in Russian with a few words left out. The words are underneath, but not in order.
We already did it.
That's the end of the exercises.
Yeah, thanks.
Log 3. Sergei Mikhailovich is asked what his profession is. Кто вы по специальности? If you listen carefully, you will hear some familiar words.
Anna Sergeyevna asks Sergei Mikhailovich what his profession is.
Простите, а кто вы по специальности?
Я филолог
А где вы работаете?
в издательстве «Советская энциклопедия».
When I heard this first time, I thought this two women. He sounds like 50 years old woman, like such a tough but woman. This is Sergei Mikhailovich. This is a man. Oh my god, I'm quite surprised. Окей, Анна Сергеевна asks, простите, а кто вы по специальности? Простите, а кто вы по специальности? Well, actually, специальность по специальности it's about your specialization, not about exactly your job, like something what you started. That is specialization we call normally. Сергей Михайлович answers, я филолог. Я филолог. Анна Сергеевна, а где вы работаете? А где вы работаете, Сергей Михайлович? В издательстве «Советская энциклопедия». В издательстве «Советская энциклопедия». Philolog, philologist, he is used linguist. Linguist, though it is not correct. I don't understand what is the mistake, because I guess that in this publish house really works a philologist, not the linguist. So I don't understand what is the mistake about. В издательстве «Советская энциклопедия». В издательстве «Советская энциклопедия». for the publishers of Soviet Encyclopedia. Let's listen.
Sergei Mikhailovich is a linguist,
He is the
philolog.
mistake. Okay.
Anna Sergeyevna's next question was, где вы работаете? Where do you work? A full answer would begin, я работаю. I work. Say these words slowly at first until you feel sure you haven't left anything out. Like this. Вы работаете. You work. Я работаю. I work.
Простите, excuse me. This word like извините can be used to mean sorry or simply to prepare the way for a question. Well, извините is more like excuse me. And простите is more like sorry. Usually, we same as in English, we say извините. Like in English language, you say excuse me. If we want to ask something or we want to disturb someone, we say извините. As you say excuse me. But sometimes, same as you can say I'm sorry to disturb you. Like if it's too uncomfortable, we can say простите. So простите is more like I'm sorry. Извините is more like excuse me. Кто вы по специальности? Кто вы по специальности? What is your profession? It's not really like profession, it's more like specialization. It's even sound saying. Broken down кто вы? Who are you? По специальности. By profession. By specialization, I would say actually. Profession is профессия. Где вы работаете? Where do you work? Verbs in Russian have different endings depending upon who is doing the action. If Sergei Mikhailovich had answered with a full sentence, it would have begun Я работаю, I work. You'll find more about these verbs later. Yes, you will. Okay, so let's go next.
Dialogue 4. Can you make out Tamara's profession?
Let's try.
Скажите, кто вы по специальности?
Я по специальности инженер. Работаю на заводе.
Скажите, кто вы по специальности? Скажите, кто вы по специальности? Я по специальности инженер, работаю на заводе. See, even here she says different, like my specialization is engineer and I work at the factory. Я по специальности инженер, работаю на заводе. Engineer, used for both men and women. На заводе, in a factory. So about engineer, it's interesting. Before it was just engineer, but now in Russia, some feminism movements also pretty popular. So you can add some suffix which will make this word sound more feminine. For example, you can say инженерка, same as with a doctor. Doctor is both for men and women, but you can say докторка if this is a woman and you want to pay attention for the fact that this is not a doctor man, but a doctor woman. You will say докторка. But for right now, it's not treated like the correct. So it's exactly if you want to pay attention for this, but this sounds for right now not like the real grammar. Okay, I hope you understand.
Engineer, инженер, and works in a factory, на заводе.
Работаю, I work. Я, I is often omitted since the ending makes it clear who is doing the action. Yes, in Russia we don't really like pronounce, especially for example in Russian literature. You will see, for example, in the first sentence, author will say who this is, like using a name, for example, like Misha go fishing. Yes, and the next sentence he will use pronoun. He is very happy. And next sentence, even pronoun will be omitted, like going so fast. for example, because we understand who is going so fast. So we don't like to repeat pronouns too many. In Russian literature, it's treated like something too simple, not like literature language. So you should use less pronouns in Russian language. Okay, Tamara asks Lena what her husband does.
Скажите, а кто по специальности ваш муж?
Печатник.
Он работает в типографии?
Да.
Скажите, а кто по специальности ваш муж? Скажите, а кто по специальности ваш муж? Печатник. Он работает в типографии? Он работает в типографии? Да. Печатник. Printer. В типографии. В типографии это printing press. Okay, next audio.
Кто по специальности ваш муж? What is your husband's job or profession? To find out about somebody's wife, you would ask, кто по специальности ваша жена?
Кто по специальности ваш муж? Кто по специальности ваш муж? What is your husband's profession or job? Like I already said, what is your husband's specialization? To find out from a man about his wife's profession, you would ask, кто по специальности ваша жена? Кто по профессии? Кто по профессии ваша жена? Кто по специальности ваша жена? Окей. Он работает в типографии. Он работает в типографии. Does he work at a printing press? If we were talking about a woman, the word would be the same, but the pronoun would change. Она работает. She works. Кто по специальности? Кто по специальности ваш муж? What is your husband's professional job? Okay, let's go next.
It's the end of the second group of dialogues. As always, listen again with the notes, and this time read the grammar section. When you feel ready, go on to the exercises.
Okay, let's practice.
Practice what you've learned. Remember to read the instructions in your book before each exercise.
We don't need any instructions. It's all clear.
Exercise 3. Ilya asks Daria Ivanovna what she and members of her family do for a living. Listen to the interview and then match up the people and their jobs in your book.
Okay, here we have to be attentive.
Дарья Ивановна, скажите, пожалуйста, кто вы по специальности?
Я журналистка.
А ваш муж?
Он филолог.
А ваша дочка? Кто она по специальности?
Она инженер.
А сын?
Он физик.
Okay, so if you've been attentive, you understood that Daria Ivanovna is журналистка. Her husband is philolog. Daughter is engineer. And her son is physicist. How do you read this? Oh my god. Okay, let's go next.
Exercise 4. Listen to the following snatches of conversation in which people say where they work. In your book are pictures of each of the people. Who's who?
Okay, this is difficult, I guess, so we will listen to it a couple of times.
Где вы работаете?
Я работаю в ресторане.
Анна, где вы работаете?
Я работаю в университете.
Виктор, где вы работаете?
Я работаю на заводе.
Таня, где вы работаете?
Я работаю в консерватории.
Алла, где вы работаете?
Я работаю в институте.
Okay, so actually not really difficult because they all go in order. But let's listen again. We should remember their names, as I guess.
Где вы работаете?
Коля,
Я работаю в ресторане.
Анна,
restaurant.
где вы работаете?
Я
Анна,
работаю в университете.
Виктор,
university.
где вы работаете?
Виктор,
Я работаю на заводе.
factory.
Таня, где вы работаете?
Я работаю в консерватории.
Алла, где вы работаете?
Алла,
Я работаю в институте.
institute. Okay, this we did. What's next?
Dialogue 6. Tanya asks Boris Mikhailovich where he lives. Где вы живете?
Okay, let's listen.
Извините, Борис Михайлович, а где вы живете?
На Остоженке.
Это далеко от центра?
Недалеко.
I also don't know what is Остоженко. Okay, Таня asks, извините, Борис Михайлович, а где вы живете? Извините, Борис Михайлович, а где вы живете? На Остоженке, на Остоженке. He is O, but sometimes we pronounce O as A, like to pronounce it easier. Same like in English sometimes, like like instead like in water you say O, you don't say A. We do it right the opposite. We don't say O, we say A на Остоженке. Okay, Таня asks, это далеко от центра? Это далеко от центра? Недалеко, недалеко. На Остоженке. On Остоженка Street.
Reply to где вы живете? Where do you live? Boris Mikhailovich might have said Я живу на Остоженке. I live on Остоженка Street. Tanya asks if that is far from the center. Это далеко от центра. And is told недалеко, not far.
Где вы живете? Where do you live? Я живу, I live. Это далеко от центра. Это далеко от центра. Is that far from the center? In Russian, one can often form the opposite by prefixing the word with не. Thus, Boris Mikhailovich answers недалеко, not far. Okay.
Numbers are important in any language. Here are the Russian numbers from 1 to 10.
So about Russian numbers, I think we will learn in second part. Otherwise, there will be like too much for this lesson. And I remember that I promised you to tell you some secrets about dating with Russian girls. How is it happening with foreigners? So if to talk about some my popular friends who dated with rich men, for example, one girl, her name is Jenny. She some reminds me Jenny from Blackpink, and she dated with a Singaporean man. I think he was Indian. He was businessman, and he, seems to me really wanted her to depend on his money. So because of this, they break up many times, and then he sent her money again, and then she comes back to him again, and then after a while she decided to break up with him because it's really not nice that he tries to make her depend on him. She wants relationships, not this old bullshit. This is what bad part about their relationships. About good part, he was businessman and he was pretty good in this, and so in his character, he's a little bit like a coach. So he often been explain her how to make business, how to make success, and that actually I think was inspiring her, and maybe this was the reason also that she been stay longer with him. Okay. Uh, Another girl I can tell you about is Veronica. She been dating with Mexican guy, young and handsome, and they lived in Mexico for a while. And often people think that Russia is gangster's paradise, but actually, when she lived in Mexico, well, actually, she's from Ukraine. She's from Ukraine, and Jenny is from Yalta. So that was Ukraine before. Now it's Russia because it's Crimea. Um, we met in China, and with Veronica, we met in Singapore. So she dated with a Mexican guy, and she said that in Mexico is very dangerous, that there are a lot of crime. In Russia, crime is usually have domestic violence, so we have not so many crimes on the streets. So once even somebody stole her phone right from her hands on the street in Mexico. So she asked him to move to some other country, for example, Spain, because as you know, Mexico and Spain, they both speak Spanish language. So they moved, and as I know, he paid for her language lessons. She studied Spanish too, and then she studied art, and they been together pretty long, but also she often been complaining that she feels really lonely in Spain, that she doesn't have friends, she have only her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is always busy, so they also break up, as I know. This is how it is. It's not easy to hold Russian girls, you should know. Money will not help you, and manipulation will not help you, and if you trying to make somebody depend on you, this will definitely not help you. Not with Russian girl, not with any another. I think if you want good, healthy relationships, that's definitely not the good tactic. So it's better of all when you try to inspire person, if you try to give person opportunities, because if you do so, this person will prefer to stay with you. The more independent she or he becomes, the more this person wants to stay with you. This is just how it is. Okay, bye.